welcome to the second episode of IIT Dhanbad Startup Stories. I'm your host, Rakesh Soni, 2006 IIT Dhanbad graduate. And today our guest is Gautam Bandyopadhyay, co-founder of Novopay. Welcome to the show, Gautam.
Hi, Rakesh.
Uh,
Thanks for inviting me for this episode, and very good morning to you.
yeah, good evening. Thanks for joining, Gautam. We are pretty excited to learn about your story and how everything started and where you are
Very
at today.
excited to connect up to the to this to all the alumni and the students, the current students, and this is really exciting work that you guys are doing. Absolutely great work.
Thank you. So, Gautam, you graduated in 1993,
Yes,
and I
way
know
back, and you are a graduate of which year, Rakesh?
I'm in 2006.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a long gap there. Okay, all right.
So, yeah, you graduated in 1993, and the world and even ISM, Dhanbad itself was a very different, right? And then I know you visited last time in 2019.
That's right.
So maybe tell us a little bit, how, campus was different, how things were different 1993 versus, 2 years ago when you visited.
Yes, it was the same and yet very different. Okay, when I in 2019 when I went there, I actually went there to recruit from Indian School of Mines, IIT Dhanbad. Okay, IIT Dhanbad. Um, for my company, we did pick up about, if I'm not wrong, some 6-7 people from the campus. Okay, and it's still very much preserving all the aura and all the the air about it in terms of the the old building, our old hostel, and we walked around. But there are many new buildings that has come up, and I must say, I think it was a very small institute at that point in time. Okay, um, right now there, of course, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, it's about 3,000, 2,000 people, 2,000 students in one batch. Okay, and we will be like 1/10 of that. Okay, at that point in
Oh,
time.
wow.
So yeah, so it's like it is but very good work is happening out there, and I was really impressed. If you ask me, at that point in time, we were probably having a lot less focus on our studies, but these days, the guys are very focused about what they're doing, and of course, and at that point in time, we did not have really many opportunities for us to to look at outside of the job. So we were all hoping that the ONGCs and the Coal Indias and all those organizations and
Yeah,
Halliburton.
I think economy was just opening up that time, right? With the reform started by
Yeah,
Narasimha Rao government.
that is right. The economy was just opening up, and it has not really fully, had that impact. In fact, uh, the year before us and the year of our graduation, the placements were really at a very low point. Okay, and that was probably one of the reasons that many of my batchmates today, they all went outside of their core area of, let's say, mining and petroleum.
Yeah.
We went to did we into banking, into financial services, into different kind of industries. Many of our friends actually went to the US to do MS, and it turns out to be a blessing in disguise, in some sense, that we were in totally different kind of line and profession that we went in, forced by the economic conditions of the placement offers that was happening. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, those 4 years are the best years of my life. Okay, they I mean, we had so much fun. We had the upper ground, the lower ground. Of course, the lower ground looks a lot different now. All those are still intact. We had like we hardly would study. At least I was one of those people where where somehow in the last minute do street smart stuff, stage level, manage it somehow. Okay, that was the whole motto, and have fun for the rest of the time. That's the kind of it's good to see that. And of course, good to see that IIT ISM Dhanbad has gone a long way, and there are a lot of people like you and many other entrepreneurs. And I was like really pleasantly surprised when I was added to that the group of entrepreneurs, that WhatsApp group that you have created, and and the list that you shared. It was what is that number? It's about 200 plus
Yeah.
people. two
I think we got like a LinkedIn group. We got 300 plus on close to 300 entrepreneurs.
and 200 odd companies which has been started up by in some
Yeah,
connection where an IIT ISM Dhanbad graduate is involved. Okay,
yeah.
that is very impressive. Let me tell you, and therefore very proud to be. Always was proud to be part of ISM Dhanbad at that point in time and IIT ISM Dhanbad now. And my best years, my best friends are from the batchmates during that period, and batchmates and seniors and juniors around that period. So I really cherish my time in ISM, and I am a proud ISMite and proud pride. I'm really so. Thank you for making all this happen. Thank you for bringing the community together. Thank you for letting people know that hey, I mean,
Yeah.
the only limitation that we have is in our minds. Okay, and we can really make it happen, and we are there to help anybody and everybody who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur. Okay, and any kind of so this is the community that you guys have helped bring together, and we are happy to help wherever we can in terms of making their dreams come true.
Awesome. No, that's really great to hear about you. Two short question about ISM, your time.
Sure.
Like how many hostels you guys had? Which hostels you had those days?
We had like what, one, two.
Probably Diamond is there. Opal,
Diamond was there, Opal was there. Okay. uh,
Emerald,
Emerald was there. So there's three of them, and then we had a ladies hostel, so there was four total.
Ruby. Okay.
Ruby, yeah.
And then those days, I don't think there was internet. Like in whole India, probably there was no internet, right?
No internet. Okay. In fact, our
Yeah.
computers, that computer lab. So there was a computer lab. Okay. And, it's something that was really available based on, you had to book it. Okay. And it was not really freely available. So, yeah, the world was very different. Okay. The world was very different. And
Right.
maybe, I mean, that's why we didn't have too much to go through the internet and the libraries and reading books and spending time with friends. They were the only entertainment that we really had. Going out and sneaking out for a movie here and there. Okay, and that's all about. Yeah, so it was the pre-internet days. I almost felt
Right.
like a dinosaur.
All right. Let's switch gears now. So Gautam, you were in a very senior position at Infosys.
Yeah.
And what motivated you to, leave such a senior position and get into startup world?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I think, see, it's so Infosys. I joined Infosys in 2001. Okay, that's when I came to Bangalore, the Silicon Valley of India, and I joined the product group out there. Okay, so it's the product name was Banks 2000 at that point in time, and it was rechristened as Finacle, later in a couple of years down the line. So I went through a journey where I was actually managing product management role, for coming from the banking industry. So I was like a domain guy, really, not somebody who was a techie, was actually coding, right? So a person who came from the banking experience, from the domain perspective, where and went through in terms of building the banking product itself, So I created, while there was no internet era, okay, where I graduated from, but the first corporate internet banking product from Finacle Infosys is something that I helped create. Okay, so you know, uh, so basically, it was the product management and the product development experience is what I got. Okay, and that kept me hooked on to Infosys for a long 12, 13 years. Okay, from there, to managing the entire channel banking product, service deliveries, managing. So I was also part of the people, the what we used to call it as customer engagement team, and the pre-sales management was all done by me and my team. So I visited 20 plus countries, I don't know, I mean, how many days in a year I'll just keep traveling, but it
Yeah.
gave me a very, very good perspective in terms of what the customer is thinking about and what are the problems that a real, a customer has. Okay. And that shaped me in some sense. I would be able to connect up to the problem that the customer has and provide solutions to that kind of a problem. Okay, is something that I saw was being appreciated by, and I mean, result happened in terms of winning many deals for Infosys. And but all this was in some sense, tiring, very tiring as well. Okay, and then I really wanted to do more creative work. It's not like in terms of what you want to do it, every day, go and travel and talk and tell them, and win deals for the company. That's all fine, but yeah, I mean, it has its own adrenaline push that you will get it, as out of that. But after some point in time, I was handling 400 member team. Okay, it was like across the globe there were customers, and there will be like a time zone had no real boundaries for me to get into calls and stuff like that. One day I went to my unit head and told him that, hey, you know what, I want to, I'm tired of all of these things. I want to leave it and I want to do something innovative. Okay, but he realized that I was actually planning to quit. Okay, but and I didn't know as to what I'll do, but I thought that I must do something different. Okay, this is then he told me that, Gautam, why don't you manage create a Finacle innovation hub? Okay, which will be an entrepreneurial journey for you, where you can help create products, by staying within Infosys. And he told me that the benefit of being in Infosys is that you could sound your ideas to existing customers, you can talk to them, you can, it'll be easier for you to, come make your products and ideas come to fruition. Okay, so fine. I mean, I sort of, liked that idea, dropped everything. He told me, go and pick up some 10 fresh graduates, go to Mysore, do your pitch, innovation pitch to these guys, and pick up 10 people from the college, from fresh graduates. And then you decide in terms of what you want to. That was really great, okay, for me to get such a kind of a mandate. Okay, so I did that. And the result of that was that, I created two new products. Okay, one was the Finacle Innovation Solution, or FIS, and another one was Finacle Digital Commerce. Okay, basically, essentially mapping mobility, with commerce. Okay, not just financial services but commerce. It was very early days. I think it must be what, 2009-ish. Okay, around that kind of,
Okay.
yeah. And so mobility was not really that hot at that point in time. Okay. The result was that I created the solution, which was the Airtel Money solution. Was actually, so we won Airtel as a deal, and Airtel Money's mobile wallet was actually powered by the technology solution that I and my team built. And I still remember that we went to Mysore, and like the team was there. We were all away from our families, and we were there locked up in our, in the hostel for 3 months. Okay, and in that 3 months, we developed the product, which was really went on to become Airtel Money. Okay, again, it was great, because I mean, you can just get the same feel of being in a college, with the young people, all out of, so these guys are like, what, 2009, this must be what, 2009, 10 or 10, 11, I think, 2011. Okay. 2010, 11. So these guys are fresh graduates out of the college. Okay. Much younger than me. Okay. And that is really, I know, by being in touch with people who are really young and kicking, and, who are coming up with fresh ideas. Okay. Full of energy, full of enthusiasm. They have the dream of changing the world. Okay. I think that makes it tick, that makes it happen. And that keeps me young as well. Okay. In terms of, so again, so that was the experience which actually gave me the first entrepreneurial, experience, really. Okay. And, after having established this product and, making, sale in a couple of other companies and things, that I said, hey, you know what, I think I really love this space. Okay. I really love the fact that these kind of solutions were actually touching the bottom of the pyramid. Okay. So that's the whole idea. So we thought, know that we should do something which is more of not a product, but a business. Okay. But a solution that we can directly take to the market, right? And we can then start making difference to the lives of these 600 million people at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay. Because there is a lack of financial services, there's a lack of, in terms of how their lives can be bettered. Okay. And that I could not have done, while being in Infosys. In Infosys, I could have created maybe another product or maybe another, and make this product even better. But but could I have actually taken this as a business solution in the market, do all partnership that is required to reach out to these bottom of the pyramid segment and make differences to their life? I couldn't have done it from there, right? So it was very clear that I want to do the same, in the sense that I want to do a product that touches the lives of many millions of the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay, and I want to do it like a actual solution and business proposition from our side, meaning it's an enterprise that we build which is focused on that, and not just another product in the in a bouquet of products that you build, and you want some bank to take it and run it, or some telecom company to take it and run it as a business. I mean, that wasn't that interesting at that point in time. So this was the natural progression for me to kind of
Okay, this is how seems like the genesis of Novopay, right? So you
absolutely.
had this amazing startup experience within Infosys,
Yeah.
which you enjoyed, and then you wanted to kind of make a difference in these bottom of the pyramid, 600 million or so people, and helping them through some banking solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's pretty inspiring because I know like most of the companies are still focusing on, higher income population in India, mainly like urban population. And very few are focusing on the bottom of pyramid, which is a massive population, but smaller per capita income. So this is pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
And
So
so you probably quit your job after you realize that this is what you want to do, I guess.
yes, yes. So and I was lucky, because when I was doing this work on mobility in Infosys, Nandan happened to spot the kind of work that I was doing, and I met him, and he was one who really uh, inspired me. He introduced me to my co-founder. Okay, in fact, and co-founder Shrikant, he was heading the technology of the Aadhaar Development Center, the UIDR. And as you know, that Nandan was driving the entire Aadhaar project, and to distribute like a billion plus Aadhaar in that short period of time is not a small thing. So what happened is that there were three things that was happening at that point in time. Okay, but one is that Aadhaar was coming up as a biometric identification, and it was very secure, very accurate. You cannot really game the system, and there was a very highly scalable system. Okay, um, but the magic that Nandan really did was to make sure that this Aadhaar is not just a national ID project, which many other countries had it before in India, but to make it like the GPS of the US. Like the GPS was a military project in the United States. It did not unlock that economic value until it was made available to the private sector. Okay, and there were APIs that were available, and then as to what happened. The entire there's a whole industry, many industries have opened up around that single capability that was delivered. Similarly, what happened with Aadhaar, that Aadhaar was API enabled. Okay, so it was possible to do an authentication, and it was possible to do a KYC. Okay, two simple functionalities. Okay, which was, and what Nandan then did is to make it available as a, he collaborated with NPCI to create financial protocols around it. Okay, so whether it is now the Aadhaar bridge payment system, which really allowed the DBT, or the direct benefit transfers, to go to the bank account directly, and therefore cutting this entire pilferage that was happening. Okay, or whether it was the the AEPS, which is using your fingerprint or using your retina scan biometric, you could withdraw money or you can operate your bank account, right? So these kind of capabilities was making Aadhaar a very powerful tool. Okay. Second thing that I saw, or we saw, is the fact that mobility, the mobile phone was being widely accepted. Especially India is an Android nation. 90% plus phones were Android phones, and the telecom retailers, they were very fast to adopt that kind of a technology. So Android phone or the smartphone was very widely adopted at that point in time. And the third thing, which you may notice, that India is a traders nation. So basically, the next largest employer after agriculture would probably be mom and pop shops or retail stores. Okay.
Right.
So retail stores were not dying, even though e-commerce was there or organized retail was there. Even, you would see that anywhere a building comes up, there'll be some 3, 4 shops that will come around you. Okay, because of the
Absolutely.
natural benefit or convenience that they provide, and so these three pillars is something that helped us to create a solution, which could leverage Aadhaar, okay, and the financial APIs around it, which could leverage the Android phone and could leverage 13 million, and I understand now it is 15 million, okay, mom and pop stores, okay, across India. If I connect all the three dots, then there is a very powerful solution that comes out, which can be used to provide financial services to the bottom of the pyramid. Okay, so which is somebody who is actually willing to pay for your services, okay, and yet it is a financial benefit for him or her, because a person in a village has to travel 20 kilometers, okay, to get to the nearest ATM point. Okay.
Right.
If he's unlucky, or if then it's high, if he's lucky, then he might find that the ATM is not dry, okay, it is not out of cash. Okay. So what happens? The guy, poor fellow, spends half a day to go and travel and and come back. He spends some 40 rupees up and down in terms of travel cost. Okay. And may or may not get the much needed cash that they want, right? Okay. So that problem is so ubiquitous. It's actually a very large problem that if you can resolve it, then there's a good segment of 600 million people who are willing to pay a small fee, and you could reach out financial services to those people. Okay, this could start with the regular financial products like sending money home, or making a remittance, or withdrawing money from your bank account. But then you can gradually upgrade in terms of providing easy access to loan, or giving a small health insurance, or providing let's say COVID insurance for that matter. Okay, is a product that we really did, okay, in the last few months, okay, in terms of offering health health insurance products, or doctor on call kind of a services. So you could make them go up the value chain slowly, okay, but the market in itself is is a large market. Okay, yes, their spending abilities are low. Okay, and your products will have to be sachet size products so that they can consume it. But they're willing to pay a price for it because it is still beneficial to them. In terms of the actual cost that they save. It's not like somebody like you and me, where we'll check some 2 or 3 apps as to who's giving the best cashback and then do the transaction from there. Okay, while we really don't need that cashback. Okay, and still we do it, and we don't put much value to that time. Okay, and I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm saying there's a large majority of this so-called middle class and the affluent class who would be spending so much of time to kind of see where is the maximum cashback is available. Okay, they don't put premium to that to their time. Okay, but this class, which is the financially excluded class, okay, actually understands the value of time, and and then time is really money for them. Okay, so if you could provide services that are affordable, that are sachet size, that is, and that can be distributed at a point which is close to where they stay, then you have a good value proposition, and that's what we went after.
Yeah, and for developing countries like India, I think financial inclusiveness and having their financial infrastructure is very fundamental to take these millions and millions of these people out of poverty. And I think that was missing, and I'm kind of like, with the arrival of Android and Aadhaar, and entrepreneurs like you, I think more and more people are being part of the infrastructure and leveraging to change, make a difference in their lives. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. And so, can you like summarize what does NovaPay do? I think I got based on your strategies and benefits you are telling, but for audience, in simple words,
So,
what
so,
do you guys do?
so yeah, so Novopay, we are a fintech company. Okay, we are more tech than fin, but we are a fintech company based out of Bangalore, incorporated in the year 2014. You know, uh, our vision is to provide banking to a billion. Okay, banking means banking and payment services to, to a billion people, and we are absolutely focused on the bottom of the pyramid, which is 600 million population on the bottom of the pyramid. Okay, uh, so there are two businesses that we really do. Okay, one is to create a large network of financial of distribution points for financial products, like these could be like banking products such as money transfer or cash withdrawal or bill payment recharges, or it could be slightly value added products like buying an insurance, a two-wheeler insurance or a life insurance or a hospi cash or so, or making even small investments such as in gold or financial fixed deposits or so, essentially taking care of financial inclusion and financial services, to this kind of a to this particular segment that we focus on. Okay, so that is one business that we do. The second business that we do is that we understand that we cannot reach all this towards a goal of providing to banking or payment services to a billion all by ourselves, right? Okay, because there is a limitation in terms of how much we can, how many points or how many retailers that we can appoint, and how many people that we can cater to. Okay, so we provide technology products and services to the fintechs and banks and NBFCs, okay, which is focused on these kind of solutions. Okay, so these solutions could be digital KYC solution, because I mean you want to do your transactions at the lowest incremental cost, right? Okay, so so the idea is that I know if you're in a payment businesses are very thin margin businesses. Okay, I mean and it should be like that. Okay, because you shouldn't spend a lot to make a payment, right? So so basically what really matters, but if there is a fraud that happens, then so let's say you gain only 0.1% of a transaction as a fee. Okay, so that means that if you lose one transaction out of 1,000 transactions because of fraudulent, some kind of fraud, your entire margin for all the 1,000 transactions is just gone, right? Okay, so essentially you therefore need to do it in a very secure manner. Okay, very very low cost, but yet there needs to be the incremental cost of processing of a transaction has to be lowest. Okay, so therefore you believe me, Rakesh, the amount of technology that is required to service the bottom of the pyramid, okay, is a whole lot more sophisticated than probably it may be required to, service a different kind of a very high value segment per se. Of course, technology is now people are doing it in every place, but think about it. If you're doing a home loan of let's say 40 lakh 50 lakh home loan, you could afford to send somebody home thrice, okay, for collecting the document, or if some mistake happens or signature is missed out, you could do that, right? But if you're doing a loan of a let's say an emergency loan of 1,000 rupees, can you even imagine doing all this in a physical touch point
Economical,
basis?
yeah.
You can't, you can't. So therefore you must have all bit of technology that needs to come to make your incremental cost of transaction coming down. So there's a lot of tech that goes in. That's why I said that we are more tech than fin. So any solution around those, okay, which is like whether it's digital KYC or agency banking services, which is where you do banking services through agents, through that you appoint, okay, or microfinance, lending solutions, all these kind of solutions that we have built, which we are also giving it to our banks and fintech partners, of course, for a fee or on a revenue share basis, so that they cater to the same segment of the customer, towards this segment of the customers, and then we reach our goal of serving a billion people. Okay, so so
Well,
that's what we do.
yeah, that's exciting. So in terms of like targeting these, bottom billions, right? By the way, that's a very inspiring vision itself. And I 100% agree. Building tech for and any category of tech, doesn't matter fin or anything. For the people with low income is extremely hard, and it requires so much more innovation, because the constraints you have, and and then the lack of infrastructure, lack of education, knowledge, and all those sort of challenges. So kudos to you and your team for building that, which is working for large number of customers.
Yeah,
um,
thank you.
so
Mm.
based on what I understood, Gautam, is so you are mainly serving these bottom billion, using your partner banks, number one, as well as the partner traders, the shop moms and pop shops you have.
Yeah.
But it seems like a very small percentage might be using their own mobile phone. Is it fair to say? Because I think the smartphone penetration, if you look at the bottom billion or bottom 600 million population, is very low still, because the cost of smartphone is pretty high.
Right. So I think, like I said, that our solution leverages three pillars, right? The Aadhaar, of course, not just the Aadhaar, but the entire India stack. Okay. Uh, and the retailer and Android phone, right? So the retailer community. So today we are present in about 24 states, and we have 120,000 people who are 120,000 retailers. These are the partners, okay, our partners who's using our app and doing services. So essentially, when we reach to this segment of the customer, we don't expect this segment to have an Android phone for, with them.
Right.
They are basically taking assisted service. Okay, so it's an assisted model. Okay, where this 120,000 retail outlets that we talked about, they have their own Android phone. 100% of them is bring your own device. Okay, BYOD. Okay, we're not giving them their devices. Okay, they bring their own devices, and of course they buy certain other devices such as biometric scanner, using which you can put your fingerprint and authenticate with Aadhaar servers. Okay, so they're buying that. They are also buying a micro ATM or a POS machine, okay, where you can swipe your card on so it's a pin pad with a with the MPOS. It's all popularly also known as MPOS. So they're buying those devices, and using those devices, they're servicing the customers who are in and around them. Okay, so we don't expect our customers to have an Android phone for themselves. Okay, we just expect them to maybe they have a mobile number, because even if they don't have, they can get a receipt printed. Okay, so there are printers which are Bluetooth connected with the phone, and that can print out a receipt and give the receipt to the customers who walk in, or an SMS that goes to that person, okay, which tells them about the transaction has been done successfully or it has not been done. So those are the kind of things that that helps us to serve these customers. We don't expect them to have a mobile
Right.
or a smartphone of their own.
Well, once the mobile penetration among this segment is probably 80% in less than 5 years, probably I'm expecting. Do you think you will pivot to more mobile, or you think the trader model still continue to work?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if we actually keep thinking about this question, because we have to be really cognizant of the fact that uh, you know uh, there will be a time, or there will be a wave, or where consumers will probably be adopting more self-service mode per se. Okay, and we actually thought that maybe 5 years back. I mean, we are now seventh year running. Okay, that whether we didn't know that in 5 years whether this trend will change or not. But we always thought that yes, there might be a chance that in 5 years there'll be a significant adoption of self-service per se. Okay, didn't happen that much for this first customer segment per se, but doesn't mean that it won't happen again. Okay, so for that matter, we have we have an app for the consumer, which we'll call it as Novopay Grahak. Okay, so that is something that is basically, the retailer is encouraged to make sure that they are, these guys are downloading it. Okay, and uh, we are still keeping the retailer's interest intact, in some sense, that even if the customer does a transaction, there's a pie of that, but there's a portion of that pie that they will also get it. Okay, from a financial modeling perspective, I'm saying, but yes, I mean, if it'll I'm sure it'll happen. Whether it'll happen in the 5 years or 10 years, we don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
Uh, some transactions will definitely move to a self-service mode. Certain other transactions, will continue to happen at the retail point. Okay, for example, if you really want to apply a loan, okay, then there are elements that needs to be done, like like an actual contact point verification, or the house verification per se, which may be necessary. And then this guy can be, the person who's doing it, and of course, enabled with technology such as GPS tracking and geo. So the coordinates are going to be geo coordinates are going to be captured, and all that will help the bank to prove the point that the person is really there, but they need a conduit for doing certain parts of the value chain still. So we do believe that the retailers and the traders are likely to remain an important cog in the wheel, if I may call it. While their importance may reduce over a period of time, okay, but we still see them playing a significant role per se. Okay, and of course, yeah, we need to be ready to um, make sure that we are also there in the hands of the customers directly, and the customers recognize that brand, and do that. And that's really the movement towards the neo banking, essentially. That's the as popularly called. So I'm sure we are also in the journey to move to become a neo bank, and neo bank for the bottom of the pyramid again,
Right.
focused on that segment per se.
Yeah. Awesome. And Gautam, what stage the business is at the moment, like in terms of size, or anything you can share with the audience?
No, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we are in the six years is what we have completed. Okay, we are close to about 100 crores of gross revenue. Okay, in terms of our revenue per se. Uh, I would say it is sort of fine. I think we should have been larger than this. Okay, we should have done much more than this, but fair enough. I think it's a journey that really because of the vision that we connect up to the bottom of the pyramid. We are happy doing connecting up to. So I think about 3 million customers, unique customers, is what comes and gets service at our retail outlet every month. Okay.
Wow.
Uh, we are at 120,000 points across 24 states, across 400 districts in India. Okay. In terms of our banking technology solution part of the business, we power more than 15 other fintechs. Okay. And they in turn are touch basing, I'm sure approximately around the same number of customers, 3 million to 4 million customers additionally than we do. We move about 2,500 crores worth of transactions every month through our technology platform. Okay, so so that's the kind of transactions that we move. Our lending platforms, which is used by banks and fintechs, is already managing approximately 10,000 crores worth of loans, value of loans, okay, which again services about three and a half million, customers per se. But if you look at all these numbers put together, whatever I told you, we are probably still 10 million out of the, a billion, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, so we are at what? Okay, 1%. Okay. Of the 1,000 million people that we could potentially touch. Okay. So the scale will make you very humble. Okay. In terms of, the whole opportunity that exists, it's large. Okay. And I know we are probably just scratching at the surface of it. Hopefully, I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it is
yeah.
a good number, to touch lives of 10 million people through the technology that we have been able to build is not a small, achievement per se, but it is still nowhere close to what we can do. Okay, because the market is large, and of course, and because the need of this segment is still unmet. Okay, so that's beautiful. I mean, that's the thing that keeps us awake, that keeps us going, and that keeps us motivated per se. So
So
In
that,
terms
that
of
number like itself is very impressive. Like with even helping 10 million, poor people through your technology itself, that should be very satisfying to you and your team.
absolutely. It
And
is something that makes us really proud. Okay. And, we are about what, 320, 330 people, together, that is directly employed by us. But from an employment generation perspective, if you look at it, we have uh, maybe about 1,000 odd distributors, okay, who is working with us, okay, and this 1,000 distributors may be employing at least 2 to 3 people, on their roles. So about another 3,000 people, okay, who's directly connected in the business in some form, plus 120,000 retailers. Of course, we are not the only source or the majority source of income for them. I'm sure, so these are all shared infrastructure. Basically, their mom and pop shop doing some other transactions and groceries and telecom, services or so. But I'm sure we add, a certain element to their, livelihood. And so therefore, in some sense, it's another 120,000 people who are, directly or indirectly from an employment perspective, they're getting, certain income generated because of these services that they avail from us. So that's again, it's, maybe,
and
satisfying.
especially like as these giants like Amazon and Flipkart, trying to take a piece of their shares from these retailers. So adding additional income, I'm pretty sure they must be very happy with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, I'll tell you, I mean, in fact, the Amazons and the, Flipkarts of the world are actually seeing these retailers as their ally rather than their enemies. Okay. Uh, if you know, I mean, of course, that Udan is such a, successful startup, right? Okay, it
Yeah.
started by ex Flipkart guys, and Flipkart itself has gone into a B2B uh, commerce space, which is basically they're trying to sell groceries and apparels. These are the two categories I believe that they're focusing right now. Okay, and they're trying to go and reach to the last mile using this retail network. Okay, so it's a strange world, and we are collaborating with them. In fact, I mean, in fact, Flipkart uses one of our, technology and our network, to basically power this B2B business of theirs. Okay, essentially we have products for, loan collections. Okay, so basically what happens is that, these giants actually sell the products to these, retailers on some credit line, right? And then this, after the sale is done, these, their people, maybe their agents or so, they go and collect the money, from, based on the due date, right? So the due date, so we power these guys with our apps and with our technology for, any collection that has to be allocated, smartly allocated to whoever is at the closest place or whoever has dealt with this customer before. Okay, I mean, customer meaning retailer. And then they go and collect this money either digitally, okay, using our apps, or by cash. And in case they, they actually collect cash, they find the nearest Novopay retail point where they come and deposit that cash to digitize it and send it to their bank account, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's how it is. I mean, in fact, fintech is an area where you'll be competing on one side and you'll be collaborating on the other.
Right. Awesome. Well, it was fun learning about NovaPay and fintech world and how you are solving problem for these bottom billion. Um, I wanna like switch gears now to get some advice from you for IIT Dhanbad entrepreneurs. So, what
Sure.
is that one or two the most important advice you're gonna share with them?
Well, I think, see, one thing is that if you are starting an entrepreneurial journey, okay, don't do it just because, people around you are doing it. Okay, uh, do it if you're really passionate about something. Okay, um, so when do you find that you are really passionate about something? So if a topic comes up and if it lighten up your eyes, okay, and if you cannot stop reading about any update or any kind of a write-up that comes about that particular area or so, then you know that you have a passion about it. Okay, and whenever you start that, that's the first ingredient that you must have. Okay, you must have passion about finding out a particular problem that you want to resolve or you want to solve, right? So find your passion. Okay, that will be the first thing, in terms of what is that area that really you're very keen, and you think that you have, you want to do something, you want to change the way things are done, what you want to change the entire, the current, the equation of it, and you really don't care in terms of how that can be, that can happen, but you really care about the, that subject, deep within. Okay, it must brighten up your eyes anytime you talk about it. Okay, that topic. So that's how you know that you have passion about the topic. Second thing will be that it's good to be passionate about something, but put your rational hat in and also see that, is the market large enough, is this a problem large enough to be solved? Okay, and so if you pick a very good problem, but there is a very little impact that solution, solving that problem will actually have. Okay, then maybe there's a reason because of which it's not yet solved, or no, so you have to you know uh, do that. You must find out that the size of the market is adequate. Okay, it may be a small problem in a large market, or a large problem in a medium sized market, or whatever. So that so what you want to do is that something that you want to must have a perceptible impact per se. Okay, so so do analyze that before you want to get into that. Okay, into that space. Okay, so that's important, that it should be a problem worth solving. Because either, not because either, because it satisfies both the conditions. It gives you an a kick because you are really passionate about that subject, and it also is going to make a difference. Because it is a large enough problem that needs to be solved. So once you have these two things in place, okay, then the other third thing that I would say is important to find uh, um, some people who are your you know uh, they have to be the collaborators, or your journey mates, really. Okay, so you need to find a few other people. Okay, and a right number can vary, but it should be at least three, is what I understand. People who are equally passionate about the topic that you're talking about, but they bring complementary skills. Okay, so you're strong in technology, somebody else is
Right.
strong in understanding how the domain works. Okay, somebody else has the connections and the is a great sales guy, and somebody else is really good at with operations and stuff like that. So that's what is. So you need to have your core team or conspirators, co-conspirators, identified, and therefore, you can then go after hitting that problem as a team, as is, as against, because it's anyway going to be a hard journey. So you have to be also reconciled to the fact that nothing really works. In a snap or so. You will need to go
Right.
through this hardship. You need to go through these ups and downs. And you need to have the energy and the patience to sustain this for a longer period of time. Okay, and unless you do that, you will be tired very soon. And you cannot. And therefore, it's important to have a team around you who can give different perspective to the same problem. you know uh, they're outspoken about their views, but they don't really take things personally. So it's important to find that a group of co-conspirators who will be going along with you, and then they bring different perspective to the whole problem, and actually don't are not afraid of calling a spade, or they're but at the same time they are also appreciative of the alternative point of view. And then you guys decide on whichever the best way to go ahead and do it. But once you have decided that this is the one way, then everybody else actually drops their views at that point in time, and then go after making that one chosen view, whatever it is. Okay, or whatever the mixture that comes out. Maybe it's as in between something that comes out of the solution, but whatever it is, then everybody is behind that idea to make it a success. So I would go by these three advisors, really. So basically, find your passion. Okay, find your co-conspirators, and focus on a problem that is worth solving.
These are excellent advice, and I think these are very fundamental to any type of startup anybody start, whether it's consumers or enterprise startups. Um, awesome. So yeah, that's the end of the show. So really, thanks for joining the and sharing your story. And I know it's late night in India, but we really appreciate learning about Novopay, about you, and even like fintech industries and how you're solving these problems and getting some advice. So really, thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you for your time. And this is a brilliant initiative that you guys have taken. You're putting, I'm sure you're very busy on your own as well, to be the CEO of a company, Login Radius, and still putting so much of an effort for the betterment of the community, for the betterment of ISM, IIT ISM Dhanbad. Is a commendable work, and all the very best, Rakesh. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope this message really inspires a lot of the ISMites, the young guys. Okay, and I can feel proud to say, hey, you know what? Look at that company. Look at that company. You know what? This
Yeah.
is done by a senior of mine or a junior of mine, or and that's really things that keeps us going. So thank you very much for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you. Man, that's what we are trying to do, to inspire all these entrepreneurs and bring them together so that we have a platform so that we can help each other.
All right.
But yeah, thank you, sir. And you have a good night.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you have a good day. Yeah.
Yeah.